At the beginning of the film, we're introduced to a 10-year-old girl named Willow who lives with her family in a remote, isolated area far away from the city. She has been physically weak since childhood, so she spends most of her time inside the house, almost completely cut off from the outside world. But her real problem isn't her illness. It's the strange and mysterious behavior of her parents, Imogen and Noah. They often leave the house suddenly without telling her anything. As time passes, Willow starts to feel like her parents are involved in some kind of secret and dangerous activity that they don't want her to know about. They're always busy with something mysterious, but Willow can never figure out what they actually do. One day the same thing happens again. Willow is standing by her bedroom window looking outside when she notices her parents making preparations near the house. Their faces look serious, as if they're about to leave for something dangerous. Seeing this, Willow quietly hides behind the curtain and starts watching them closely. That's when she notices something strange. They're taking a pig with them. This makes her even more suspicious. Questions start racing through her mind. Where are they taking the pig, and why? She feels like if she doesn't uncover the truth today, she might never find out. Gathering her courage, she slowly steps out of her room, opens the door without making a sound, and carefully sneaks outside. Keeping her distance, she begins to secretly follow her parents. But suddenly someone grabs her hand tightly from behind. Startled, Willow turns around and sees that it's her grandfather, Wilder. In a stern voice, Wilder tells her that going into that area after dark is strictly forbidden. Willow softly replies that it isn't even dark yet, but Wilder doesn't listen and takes her back inside the house. After that incident, Willow becomes even more restless. She stays quiet the entire day, repeatedly glancing toward the door. The same question keeps echoing in her mind. What are her parents really up to? Then Imogen returns, but this time, she's alone. Noah's nowhere to be seen. At that moment, Willow notices something chilling. Imogen is carrying all of Noah's clothes in her hands, but his heavy coat is missing. Seeing this, Willow's heart started pounding rapidly. Just then, her eyes fell on Wilder, who was standing near the door. He had already been there, and the anger on his face was clearly visible. In a harsh voice, he said that whatever was happening in this house was something he could no longer tolerate. Imogen looked extremely tired and distressed. At dinner, everyone sat as if nothing had happened. But suddenly, long and terrifying sounds echoed from outside. Like a wolf howling toward the roof? The moment Willow heard that sound, she panicked and her hands began to tremble. Imogen quickly tried to act normal and said it was just the sound of foxes, nothing to be afraid of. But the fear inside Willow didn't fade. As soon as dinner was over, she quietly went to her room. There she started playing with her wooden dollhouse, which looked exactly like their real house. At that moment, she heard a faint groaning sound coming from downstairs. Slowly, she got out of bed and carefully walked down the stairs. She reached the door of her parents' room and was just about to open it. Suddenly, everything changed, and she woke up. That's when she realized it was all just a bad dream. But what happened the next morning made her fear even worse. Noah had returned home, but his condition was terrible. He could barely even walk, so Imogen had to support him as she brought him inside. Standing at the door, Wilder said in a worried voice that Noah's condition was getting worse day by day. But Imogen didn't respond. Silently, she took Noah into the room and locked the door from the inside. Willow stood at a distance, watching everything, her heart filling with an unknown fear. After some time, she went outside to do her usual chores. That's when her eyes fell on a corner of the garden where Imogen was crouched down, washing Noah's heavy coat. The same coat didn't have the previous night. Willow looked closely and noticed that the water dripping from the coat was slowly turning red, as if it was mixed with blood. Seeing this, Willow's fear grew deeper than ever before. Finally gathering the courage, she asked her mother where they went every time. The moment she asked the question, Imogen slammed the utensils down in anger. Her irritation was clearly visible in every movement, but she didn't answer Willow's question. Later that same night, Willow heard her father crying inside his room. In a faint, trembling voice, he kept saying that his condition was getting worse day by day. Meanwhile, Imogen tried to comfort him, assuring him that everything would be okay. After a while, the door opened. As soon as she walked away, Willow quietly slipped out of her room and tiptoed toward the door. She leaned in and peeked through the keyhole, trying to see what condition her father was really in. But the moment she looked inside, a single eye suddenly appeared, staring back at her. Terrified, she jolted backward. Panic took over and she ran straight to her room, quickly shutting the door behind her. Then she placed her wooden toy horse right in front of the door so she'd know immediately if anyone tried to open it. The next morning, everything seemed normal again. That's when Imagine told Willow they were going out for a walk. As they were leaving, Wilder handed Willow a few beads and quietly said, "Goodbye." Once they got away from the house, a faint smile appeared on Willow's face. She was finally breathing fresh air after a long time. A little later, Imagine stopped the car, changed out of her simple farmer clothes, and put on a beautiful dress she had hidden inside. Willow looked at her mother with surprise and joy, smiling brightly. The two of them then tried driving along an empty road, laughing together. For a brief moment, everything felt normal again. When they reached the village, Imagine bought new clothes for Willow. They spent some time together and returned home before evening. But the moment they arrived, the atmosphere shifted. Noah looked extremely tense, acting as if they had been gone for a very long time. To lighten the mood, he jokingly made wolf sounds to make Willow laugh. Then suddenly, he pulled both Willow and Imagine into a tight hug and softly said, never to leave him alone again. About a month later, Willow was playing in her room when Imagine knocked on the door, but the wooden horse was blocking it, so it wouldn't open properly. From outside, Imagine said she had to go out for a while and might be late. She also told Willow that her favorite food was in the oven in case she got hungry. Hearing this, Willow walked over to the window again. That's when she noticed something disturbing. Once again, another pig was being taken away from the house. Seeing this triggered her old fears. This time, she made up her mind. She was going to find out the truth, no matter what. She quietly slipped out of the house and followed her parents all the way into the forest. There, in the middle of nowhere, was a hidden spot. From the outside, it looked like ordinary ground, but beneath it, there was a concealed basement. Imagine and Noah arrived there, and the moment they stepped inside, Imagine started chaining Noah up. From their actions, it was clear they had done this many times before. A pig was also left in the same basement, and then Imagine took Noah's clothes and walked outside. Meanwhile, Willow was secretly watching everything from hiding. That night, there was a full moon, but the forest was still dimly lit. Taking advantage of the darkness, Willow quietly made her way toward the basement behind the house. But just as she reached the door, Imagine suddenly spotted her. She called out Willow's name and started running toward her, but by then it was already too late. Willow had opened the basement door and gone inside. She wanted to uncover the truth, but the moment she saw what was inside, she was completely frozen. She saw her father's body slowly changing. His bones began to twist in unnatural ways, as if something inside him was breaking them apart. Within moments, he no longer looked human, but like some horrifying creature. Before the transformation could fully complete, Imagine grabbed Willow from behind and, without wasting a second, dragged her away, running back toward the house. But what Willow had just witnessed was too much for her to handle. Overwhelmed by fear and shock, she lost consciousness before even reaching home. Slowly, she began to recover, but her parents were so broken that they couldn't properly take care of her. So for a while, Willow went to stay at her grandfather Wilder's house. One day, she was standing behind a door when she heard her parents and Wilder arguing. They were fighting about Willow as her parents had come to take her back, but Wilder refused to send her with them. He didn't want his granddaughter living in that monster's house. Seeing the argument escalate, Willow quietly decided on her own that she would return home. As soon as she got back, all her anger and grief burst out. She tore her new floral dress and started crying uncontrollably. Now, the only connection she had to the outside world was through her window. But one night, everything changed. In the silence of midnight, her bedroom door slowly began to move. Terrified, Willow tried to hide, but suddenly the door swung open. Standing there was her grandfather, Wilder. He stepped inside and softly said, that he had come to take her with him. Hearing this, Willow quickly packed a small bag, and the two were just about to leave quietly, when Imagine suddenly woke up, stood in front of them, and blocked their path. Just then, Noah showed up and tried to forcefully take his daughter with him. Seeing this, Wilder completely lost his temper. He attacked Noah and started calling him a monster. That was the last straw for Imogen. She snapped, pushed her own father out of the house, and shouted loudly that the real monster was him. The next day, Noah asked Willow to go on a walk with him. When Willow stayed silent, his request slowly turned into an order. Left with no choice, she went along with him, and the two reached the edge of the forest. From there, they walked all the way to the same basement where Willow had seen her father's terrifying form. Standing there, Noah began telling her the story of his grandfather, William. He explained that his grandfather also had to come to that very place every month because on every full moon night, his body would transform into a horrifying creature. He endured unbearable pain, but the hardest part was hiding the truth from his family. He was always afraid that in that dangerous form, he might hurt the very people he loved. He managed to keep the secret for a long time, but one day, his worst fear came true. His wife secretly followed him into the forest and discovered the truth. After that, she too became a victim of the same curse. The incident shattered him completely, and consumed by guilt, he eventually took his own life. Noah narrated all of this in a heavy voice, tears streaming down his face. He said that now, the same curse had been passed on to him, which is why he has to go to the basement every month to keep his family safe. Hearing this, Willow became emotional. She slowly stepped forward and hugged her father, closing the distance between them. For the next few days, things felt somewhat normal. Noah would chop wood while Willow sat nearby, watching him slowly starting to feel comfortable around her father again. Yet one day she jokingly said she wanted to try using the axe. Playing along, Noah declared himself the king of the forest and turned it into a fun little ceremony, including Willow in the game. At first she was a bit scared, but soon she started laughing. And for the first time in a long while, genuine happiness appeared on her face. But that peace didn't last long. One day, while searching for a bottle of tea in the car, Noah found the same floral dress that Imogen had been wearing that day. The moment she saw the dress, suspicion crept into her mind, and her expression changed instantly. She felt like Imogen was hiding something from her. In a burst of anger, Noah lost control and forcefully took Willow back home. That night, a terrifying fight broke out inside the house. Imogen kept trying to explain that she hadn't hidden anything, but Noah's behavior had become strange. One moment he would scream in rage, and the next, he'd apologize, like his mind was fighting against itself. In the end, he forced Imogen to promise that nothing would change and everything would stay the same. A few days later, it was Willow's birthday. She wore her favorite dress that day. Just then, there was a knock on the door, and Wilder was standing outside. After everything that had happened before, they had forgiven him, so he was allowed inside. The whole day passed normally, but as night fell, questions began to creep back into Willow's mind. Before going to sleep, she asked her mother if their family was really safe. Imogen hugged her and reassured her that she would never let anything hurt her. Sometime later, the night came when Noah had to go back into the jungle again. An eerie silence filled the house. Willow fell asleep, but in the middle of the night, she had a terrifying dream. In it, she heard her father's voice calling her from far away, pulling her toward him like she was under some hypnotic trance. In the dream, she walked toward her dollhouse and broke its tiny door, as if an invisible force was controlling her. Then she felt something changing within her own body, and she woke up in fear. Her throat was dry, so she went downstairs to get some water. Outside, strong winds were blowing, and the sound was like someone violently shaking an iron gate. It felt like someone was standing outside. Gathering courage, she called out her father's name and started unlocking the gate. Just then, she heard footsteps behind her. Wilder had arrived. He immediately pulled Willow inside, slammed the door shut, and locked every door and window in the house, as if something dangerous was outside. Hearing the noise, Imogen came rushing in. The moment she understood the situation, she became nervous. She sent the dog into Willow's room, but in the middle of all that fear, Willow's breathing grew rapidly, and she suddenly collapsed, unconscious. When they checked on her, they realized her oxygen cylinder had run empty. Without wasting a second, Imogen ran outside to get a new one. Her mind focused on only one thing: saving Willow. But just then, the iron gate outside began shaking violently, as if something was trying to break it down. Terrified, yet furious, Imogen fired shots outside. Meanwhile, Wilder tried his best to stabilize Willow. Suddenly, a loud blast echoed, and the iron gate shattered. In the very next moment, it became clear Noah, now fully transformed into a werewolf, had somehow entered the house. His eyes burned with wild rage, and his entire body looked terrifyingly dangerous. Realizing the situation, Wilder made a bold decision to face him, even without any weapon. They told Imogen and Willow to hide, while they moved downstairs themselves. Grabbing the door, they tried to hold that creature back, but they couldn't last long against the monster's raw power. The attack was so brutal that Wilder was thrown backward and got impaled on the sharp horns mounted on the wall. After a while, Willow regained consciousness, but Imogen quickly covered her mouth to stop her from screaming in fear. The two of them lay silently on the floor, listening to every sound coming from outside. Then, heavy footsteps passed nearby. And moments later, a dog's painful scream echoed through the house. That's when Imogen realized the dog had also fallen victim to that savage creature. Staying there was no longer safe, so they slowly made their way to the car parked outside. Imogen helped Willow into the car, but then ran back inside to save Wilder. With great effort, she pulled him off the horns and supported him as they moved toward the basement. But suddenly her hand got caught in a mousetrap, and the moment she screamed, the werewolf crashed down through the floor. They tried to escape, but the iron gate was locked. Sitting in the car, Willow gathered her courage, used a hook to pull the gate, and drove forward, forcing it open. But Wilder was badly injured, and the car wouldn't start. With no other choice, the three of them ran into the forest on foot. After some distance, Wilder realized he wouldn't make it much farther, so he chose to sacrifice himself. He shut the gate behind him, giving Imogen and Willow a chance to escape. Moments later, his agonizing screams echoed through the darkness. Imogen kept running without looking back, but Willow collapsed from exhaustion. When Imogen turned around, she saw the werewolf dragging Willow away. She chased it and reached the same place where Noah had once been chained.
And that's where the story ends. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Also subscribe to this channel for more stories like this.